Welcome, everybody, and glad to have you back today. If you want to get a Bible and turn with me again, we will be in the 20th chapter of Proverbs, and we're going to look at the remaining verses in chapter 20, starting in verse 22. And we'll be talking a great deal about judgment and proper judgment, who's in charge of judgment, what our role in judgment is, just a kind of an overview of Solomon's wisdom on judgment. People are interesting. We like justice, we like judgment when it benefits us. That's usually the way that I've seen it operate. And here we know that in this world, God is the ultimate judge, but He has given responsibility for judgment on this earth in our earthly manners to our court systems, to our government to judge. But ultimately, God will be the final judge of every thought, motive, deed that man has ever committed. And in verse 22, he begins by giving us our place. Say not thou, I will recompense evil, but wait on the Lord, and He shall save thee. First thing that Solomon deals with, and it's very important. I think it's important we teach this to our young people. It's important we learn this as adults. Revenge usually doesn't work. I'll use a sports analogy. Some of you may not appreciate it, maybe not even understand it, but I think I can make this easy enough that even if you don't watch sports, many times I've seen, if you've watched football, you'll see one player just he'll jump up and he'll smack the other one. And the second player then will punch back. Well, 9 times out of 10, what does the referee see? He sees the second one. He didn't see the first one, and the second one ends up getting a penalty, getting in trouble. And the first one gets away with it. In life, it just seems like revenge usually works that way. That we usually don't benefit from trying to get revenge. And so Solomon says, let God take care of it. Let God handle those things. And he goes on, interesting verse from there, when he says, divers weights are an abomination unto the Lord, and a false balance is not good. We have seen some version of this statement a number of times now. And he uses this idea of an unfair scale, but he's not. That's not the limit of what he's talking about. He's talking about just dishonesty in business in general. That ultimately those who in business who cheat on their scales will be weighed themselves. They will be judged for their misdeeds, for their crookedness, their thievery in their business. And here's a good word that all of us need to be reminded of. Man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? Man's goings are of the Lord's. We can make all the plans we want. We can make all the, we can fill our calendar up for weeks and weeks on end. And there's somebody laying in the hospital right now who had a calendar full of events to take care of this week, and they're going undone. There's somebody who's they're at the funeral home. Their calendar's going to go undone. Our plans are fleeting. God is in control. God leads our steps, and we can't understand completely everything about our path because we can't see into the future. It is a snare to the man who devoureth that which is holy, and after vows to make iniquity. He says, don't make crazy promises. When you make, when you say tomorrow I'm going to do so and so, or the next day, when we make promises, when we make commitments that we can't honor, that we can't see the future, and so we don't try to make promises. We find ourselves in situations where we try to bargain with God, and we speak out and say things that are foolish. He says we can't do that because we can't see into the future. A wise king scattereth the wicked and bringeth the weal over them. Again, here he states something for the leaders. He says, a good king, good rulers deal with the wicked in their kingdom. The spirit of man is the candle of the Lord, searching all the inward parts of the belly. Here he's saying that, again, the spirit of man, pay attention to what he said, the spirit of man is the candle of the Lord. The Lord himself, he's saying, gives us our life the same way that a fire lights a candle. And it's interesting. Interesting illustration he's using there. He's saying that, again, the Spirit, we get our life, we get our fire from God Himself. That it's not of our own strength. That we don't. That we're not. We're not in charge of our life. That's kind of the theme of this whole section that he's telling us about. So we have to put ourselves into the trust of God. Mercy and truth preserve the king, and his throne is upholden by mercy. Whether you're the king or the peasant, he talks about mercy and truth. What a great statement that we have seen proven over and over again. A leader, a king, a dictator, whatever title he holds, who doesn't operate in mercy and truth and love, will eventually, his people will overthrow and probably kill him. But mercy and truth preserve the king. That if he will work and operate in mercy and truth, I think of Queen Elizabeth. Don't know everything about her. Again, I don't. I'm not English, so I don't know much about the Queen. But I know she ruled for somewhere around 70 years. Mercy, and everything I've read or heard about her was she was a generous, fair, honest, merciful, truthful person, and her reign was long. And that's true in whether you're talking about in the business or in a government. The glory of the young men is their strength, and the beauty of the old men is the gray head. There again, he says there's glory in both the young and the old, the strength of the young, and the wisdom of the old. We should respect both. Many times those two groups kind of fight with each other. But he says there's good in both. There's glory in the strength of the young man. There is glory in the wisdom and the experience of the old man. Verse 30 says, the blueness of a wound cleanseth away evil, so do stripes the inward parts of the belly. Again, one of the hardest things we have to understand here is as a child of God, as an employee, is that punishment is for our good. And I realize we live in a fallen world where many times there are wicked parents, evil leaders who punish unjustly, wrongly. But we're talking about done properly, godly. He says that discipline, that punishment is done to purge our hearts and to cleanse us of wrongdoing, to put us on the proper path. And so all of these proverbs in this section are again reminding us, I think, of placing our focus on justice, on traveling the right path, knowing that ultimately that God is in control, that God will judge. He is the final judge. Even in our court system, sometimes there's a section. I don't know if it still is. There used to be a section in the Reader's Digest, and it would be stories of just horrible decisions by the court systems and judges, and there's still going to be those. I don't know if that's still a section in the Reader's Digest, but I guarantee you it still goes on. There are bad decisions made in the court, but ultimately, God is the final judge, and God will take care of things. And you and I, we govern our life again by mercy, by truth, by righteousness, and seeking to do the right thing. And those are some real good challenges for us today. And I hope you'll consider those and keep those in your heart as you go about your day and you make your decisions, that your life would be governed by righteousness and knowing that ultimately God is the judge. Have a good day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning.